What's going on in Philippians, the bit I love, let's just flick back to 26. The bit I love is that truly I say to you, whenever the gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be spoken in memory of her. Maybe I can shed a little bit of light on what that means. You see, in Philippians 1, verse 15, we see that some preach Christ out of envy. In other words, some people are jealous of Paul. Some people wish they had the mind of Paul, wish they had the intellect of Paul, wish they had the opportunity that Paul had, wish they had the position, wish they had the authority, wish they were the ones that could have written some of the New Testament. They wish that they were there. And so out of envy, they come up with decent reasons why people should now listen to them and not be listening to Paul anymore. They come up with some valid excuses. We all do this in and of ourselves. We see something, we cover it, we get envious of it, and so in order to kind of save face, we think of valid, righteous reasons why we should have that. We deserve that. We deserve this position. We deserve this place. And so out of selfish motives, we try and gain what we see other people having. We try and gain that position. We kind of try and gain that. And so this envy, this malice that comes on with silence comes from somewhere. See, Paul has this reputation and other people want it. Paul has this influence and other people want it. Paul has this respect and other people want it. And some will preach Christ out of a desire to be like Paul or to be like them, to have that ministry, to have that influence, to have that. And somehow in church, this translates. And before I go on, I'm going to teach you about the validity of the feelings and how the devil twisted it. Some of you will have heard me teach on this stuff before. In Genesis, we read the story of the fall of man. And here we have Adam and Eve, and they have been created. They have been created beautiful. Okay? The man is handsome, and the woman is beautiful. And they have been created in the image of God himself. They have been created perfect. They have been created fabulous. They are in the image of God. They are great. They reflect greatness. In essence, who they are and as they walk around is a reflection. It's an image of who God is. And so there's this magnificence about this creation, Adam and Eve. And this is why God turned around and said, the whole earth belongs to you. Have dominion over it. To kind of steward it and look after it. Before the fall, first commandment is to do good business. Yeah, and so this whole kind of thing, and because you're in the image of God and it belongs to you, and you're just fantastic, and so poured on you is meaning and significance and greatness from God Himself, breathing into you. Yeah, His Spirit, and so this greatness is what you were made for. You were made to be great. You were made fantastic, and you were made to be appreciated as being fantastic. Yeah, that's what you're made for. The other thing you were made for is you were made to walk with God. You were made to be with God, not just kind of from a distance. Yeah, God is watching us from a distance. You were made to walk with Him. You're like, come on, geese, you know. You were made to stride with Him. You're made to kind of, look, there's a pig running along. Look. Isn't that cool? Yeah, you made that, didn't you? Yeah. And you were made for that. You were made to be with greatness itself, which is God. You were made to be with the personification of greatness, God. So in other words, you were made for two things. Yeah? You were made great, and you were made to be with what is great. And what happened at the fall is so simple. It's so simple. It's such a little twist. It's just such a little changing of the focus. It's such a tiny little turn. The devil's so clever. He twists you so easily. He can just change the perspective of it. And it all just shifts and it goes out of focus and you've lost sense of where you're at. You start with the best of intentions, great, and to be with greatness. And you recognize that great is God and you want to be with Him. And so you go into the ministry and you think, I want to walk with God and I want to talk with God. I want to be part part of the church. I want to serve by doing the communion, or I want to be on the piano, or I want to make the cups of tea. And you start with the great intentions of being great and being with greatness because it's recognized by God as you're serving him. And this is what's happening. Adam and Eve, they're made for this. And then the devil comes along and says, did God really say that? Let's just doubt his greatness for a moment. And then see that fruit over there? Yeah? That'll make you great. Make you greater. You'll be like God. You'll be, not just his image, you'll be like him. Yeah? You could be even better than you are. And they go, oh, yeah, that sounds good. All right, so they chomp, chomp, chomp. Suddenly recognize they're naked. Yeah? Without God's greatness, the image is marred and they're naked, but they still crave the same things. They crave greatness, and they crave after belonging and being with greatness. And so the sinful nature comes into play, and all the devil has to do is dangle carrots. All the devil has to do is seed into your mind, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Be good to be with that, wouldn't it? And then as you go, see, yeah, there's nobility in that. And so you think, oh yeah, okay, we'll go along there, we'll be with that. And over time, he can draw you away from God towards the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. And so in the midst of all of this, what happens in church life is you start off with the best of intentions. And then somebody comes along and they said, that was really great. Did somebody just flash? That was really great. And you go, yeah, it was. It was great, wasn't it? And you receive it. And then somebody else comes along and they said, so you really do a good job of that, don't you? And you say, yeah, I do. Yes, I really try hard. Yeah. And this happens as pastors. This is one of the reasons why I struggle. And I tell you now and again, please don't tell me it was a good sermon. Or please don't tell me it was a good message, because there's a risk at that. And I know you say it with the best of intentions, and everything I do is with the best of intentions, but there's a risk. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? You receive it. And then you're going along here and somebody else comments about how good that was in that particular area, and so you receive that. And then over time what happens is you begin to think, I do a good job at this. I'm good at this. I'll make a good one. Yeah, I'll make a good coffee. Yeah, or I'll preach a good sermon. Yeah, I'm very mean on that piano. Yeah, and over time, what begins to happen is this pride begins to come up about what you do and how good your ministry is and how capable you are in that area and everything else. And then what happens is somebody comes along and they're holy competition. Yeah, maybe they're a bit better than you at that. Maybe you're a great theologian. Yeah. And somebody comes along, they're a better theologian than you. Or they've got the paperwork to prove they're a better theologian than you, but you know they're not. Because everybody appreciates you for how good you are at it. Yeah. And so what begins to happen over time is you think, they messed up there. Look at that. They missed that bit out. It could be that they messed up in the sugars. Yeah, they didn't put them out properly. Or they're putting the note out of place on the piano twice in the meeting. Yeah? Or the chairs were set up wrong. Yeah? There was one that was out of place. Or they forgot my prayer card. Yeah? And what begins to happen over time is you begin to say, did you hear that? Yeah? They got a note out of place. Carolyn got another note out of place. She sang flat all night, you know. And did you hear that? I tell you what, I could do a better job than that. Yeah. And back in my church, we do this. Back in our place, we do that. And over time, what happens is, through the best of intentions, through all the early good motives, what's begun to happen is we become prideful about the way we do things. And we become people that become ambitious in and of ourselves with all the best intentions. Oh, you don't understand, Gareth, you see. The reason why I'm correcting the problems that you have in the worship teams is because I want it to be perfect. I want it to be great. There's that word. The reason why I'm correcting the theology is because I want it to be pure, which is noble. But what motives do we have? I'm guilty of this. And I have to go home and repent sometimes. Sometimes I may have to go up to somebody and apologize. Because it is so easy for the devil to just twist the focus. Twist it. Move it.